I wanted to share my story, given a vast definition of why I believe women are God's strongest creation. Could you imagine being born into a family where there's manipulation, when nobody taught you how to deal with your situation, but then they question your lack of communication? You see, mommy never come nothing for me since my standard 5 graduation, but I've managed to survive, mommy. I call that levitation. I mean, the perks of forgiveness and meditation has gotten me far, don't mistake my interpretation. But with no closure to my past, you can imagine my frustration. They say share your story, but when I shared my story, only egos needed protection, because maybe if I did wear a coverall like I work in construction, then he wouldn't have been led to temptation. Jameela, you lying on this man, because somehow at 8 or 9 years of age, I knew something about sexual penetration. I am sorry, Granny, if marrying a man and my kids wasn't part of my destination. It's not disrespect when I answer you back. I'm just tired of your disrespectful dedications. At 16 years of age, I was already living with a man running from your manipulation. You see, my poetry is how I fight my depression. Social media is just a distraction. Suicide, that's out the question. Because I must live for my children and I must live for this generation. Sharing my story made me realize how many hide their story for their families' good reputations. But today we say to hell with first impressions. Today we say to hell with opinions. Because it's about time I ask this man this question. Is it my fault that you were led to temptation?
Wow. Powerful, some powerful, powerful words there this morning. Trinidad and Tobago, this is Jameela Coward with us, fighting depression through poetry and definitely moving us to a place that we probably didn't even know existed inside of us. Good morning, Jameela.
Good morning.
Welcome. And you see, you smile too. You just gave something so powerful then. Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I am good, I'm good.
So, Jameela, you just moved us in the space of a few moments. So tell us something. Who is Jameela?
How to explain this? I am one of the most humblest, kind-hearted, I believe strongest person that I know. And if I have to choose one word to describe myself, it will be fighter.
Yeah.
But in a nutshell, you put it together, fighter.
A fighter.
A fighter.
So you're fighting depression through poetry. And it's definitely an admirable move because it's not something easy to deal with on any scale. But what brought you to that place to say, okay, it's time to share my story with the world? And when you decided to share your story with the world, as we would have heard just through the poem, how was it received by your peers, by your family, and by society?
It wasn't as bad as I thought it would have been when I spoke publicly about it. I mean, it did cause some commotion where I have a couple family members still a little shaded, so they don't speak to me as much. My friends, actually, they were more open. They were more supportive. My parents were more supportive because I didn't tell my parents until I was 20 years of age. So they didn't know. So for me, I had the support, especially 2 of my aunts who have been with me from since baby, every step along the way. So it has been one that I know because of the, not much, but little support system that I had, it gave me a stepping stone to, you know, build myself, carry on, be open enough to share my story, because I really thought I would have gotten more criticism because of the background that we come from.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You mentioned the little support system that you had, which leads me to my next question, which is you manifested healing through your poetry.
Yeah.
When did you start writing?
I started writing since I was in standard 1. More or less, I started writing because I didn't grow up with my parents, like I said before. And I used to write my feelings to pen, with pen and paper, you know, because growing up, saying certain things comes across disrespectful. You don't even have to use obscene language, it just comes across disrespectful. Because, you know, you're supposed to respect your elders. Sometimes you have a point of view. You know how it goes. So, from the time I reached standard 1, I was already writing, and I was writing calypso, because I love calypso and soca music. And then the poetry came through because I always felt like I grew up with my great aunt and she's ageable, so you don't have much conversation to get there.
Yes.
So I used writing.
Nice. Now, Jameela, you started this this NGO, right? Fighting depression with poetry.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the NGO, how long in existence, and I mean, what is the real purpose of it?
Fighting depression through poetry. Why I started, I didn't plan on starting it. What I had done is, if I'm being honest with myself, the reason why I came out to my parents, because I wasn't going to tell them, because it was already swept under the carpet when I came out when I was like 16 years of age. So I wasn't going to tell them, but my sister was moving a little funny, my little sister, and I was like, Lord, I wonder if this is happening. So I got frightened. I was like, Daddy, well, so by so. And I was like, Mommy, so by so. And I decided to go on Facebook. A day I was just home doing nothing, and I had written the same poem I said in the beginning. I had written it for Poetry Slam, and it was just there, and I left it there. And then I decided to go on a Facebook Live, because that day I was really in my feelings. I don't know for what reason, but I was in my feelings, and I did the Facebook Live, and the outcome was remarkable. Right. The love, the support, you know, Jameela, I went through this, and I don't even think I could be as brave as you. And people was like, so, we always seen you smiling, because I am the most social person you'll ever meet. Huh? And I was like, I use poetry. And I wanted a place to vent where I wasn't being told I was lying, where I wasn't being told I shouldn't say that, where I was being able to speak however I want to speak. And fighting depression through poetry is what came to mind. And I started it. This was my 4th year since I started it. A guy by the name of Nigel, he's in charge of Jersey Nation. He was one of the first persons that reached out to me. And he was like, yeah, what? This thing is bigger than we think it is. And then from there.
Wow. And what are some of the projects that you're involved in?
I lived St. Paul Street, Laventil for a couple of years. And apart from my NGO basically I do motivational speaking, I go in schools and stuff like that. But apart from my NGO, living on St. Paul Street, and I'm from Souza, living there, you see a whole different energy, a different vibe, a different type of people. And I'm seeing 13-year-olds, 10-year-olds out there, sometimes 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, we close because we had a business. And I'm like, what could I do? And I just threw a concert. I brought Jaranis, Siggy Rankin, I brought Kayla and Rebel, because the youths were so impacted on their music that I wanted them to come, because I knew them personally, that apart from the music they sing, they were bright boys.
Right.
So I brought them to spread their message, and after that, everyone flocked to me. So now I'm a football coach.
Wow.
This is my 3rd year with the boys. I have over 100 of them. It's a little less now because of the fact of the little war it have in the area, because I normally had John, Sea Lodge, Duncan, St. Paul Street, all over. And currently, we are doing a program on the field in St. Paul Street, it's called The Quarry, with the TTPS, who are training my boys for the next 6 months. And then I was recently elected as the Youth Governor of Family and Social Development. So I am doing a project, my team and I are doing a project where we are helping young persons who suffer from depression and cannot afford therapy.
Jameela, you are doing so much with this adversity that happened to you. I mean, do you ever see your adversity in a positive light, that maybe I was supposed to be here because of that, to help other people?
That is one of the main reasons I have become so humble, because I tell people that forgiveness is very important. And when I say forgiveness, I'm not speaking about forgiving people. I'm speaking about forgiving yourself. Because for a while I battled with myself saying, I should have speak up sooner, you know, I should have fight back, I should have done something. And if I didn't learn to forgive myself instead of fighting with myself, I would have probably committed suicide or something like that. And it would have been hard to tell, because like I said, I'm always smiling. And really and truly, the art of forgiveness is what has brought me far. And seeing, again, the support, seeing how many young persons feel so comfortable now to come to me and it'd be like, wait, boy, God, you have a funny way of doing things, you know, but if this is what I'm supposed to do, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Wow. Amazing.
I'm moved in so many ways. But Jameela, there's something that you just mentioned that hopefully we can just touch on as well. You mentioned the fact that you're a football coach.
Yeah.
And the fact that normally you would have roughly 100 boys that you were training, but you also mentioned the fact that given, I don't really want to say about gangs or given that the number has dwindled.
Yeah.
Could you just share with the public your experience with that and how it influences your work in the area when it comes to trying to reach out to these young men?
I mean, the good thing about, I can't speak for every other community, but St. Paul Street, they tend not to get the children involved in whatever bigger issues that they have. So the boys that I have out the road that don't come, I always keep in contact with them. We talk every day. Every day, and it's just not talk about football, because I do homework workshops, I do field trips before COVID, I teach sex education, I carry them different programs, everything. So we keep in contact. So yes, it have affected it, but I didn't have no bad experience to say a bad experience, because half of the boys go in the same school, so even if he can't come across, when they're in school, they're associated, you know.
They still get
so
to
we
spend
just
time.
try. So I was saying, God Spare Life this year, I would try to move it like probably in Queen's Park, Savannah, or somewhere around that everybody could feel comfortable, you know. So it would be like, oh God, yes, miss, I want, because it would be like, miss, oh gosh, because I'm in a tournament on the 16th of next month, and the boys from Duncan Street too, that coming across on our street like, oh gosh, miss, oh gosh, I come in, you know. I say, oh God, nah, I will work something out and we'll move to suit.
So you're definitely working with them, and that's so important. Now, also, I know coming up, you have something launching when it comes to counseling, correct?
Right. That's with the youth government of Trinidad and Tobago. Like I said, I was elected as the youth governor of family and social development. And it's just because we know, apart from sexual abuse, verbal abuse, peer pressure and all of these things, the pandemic. Because I myself, when I was a kid, my boys saved me. Like I just tell people, I was battling depression when I started with my boys, still at a higher level. So I know with the pandemic and with my personal experience with the pandemic, I was going through a state of depression because everything had changed. So we just want to create a safe zone, because it's entitled The Safe Zone. So we created a safe zone where young persons between the ages of 13 to 29 could come and seek free therapy if they can't afford it.
Right. Now, you dropped the tournament on us, but I want more details. When is the tournament happening? Where is happening? That kind of thing.
You would not believe this tournament was planned in one day.
Oh, wow.
Because as soon as we realized, as of midnight tonight, I wanted to do something, because before, the boys from John never used to come across. So now John, yeah.
Right.
And with the training, with the TTPS, we have, I can't even count, I lost count. So many of them. And I'm like, because the first tournament I threw it had a scruffle, and that was like 3 or 4 years ago between both of them. And now everybody is friends. So I wanted to do something to say, yeah, what? We open, we're doing this thing. So it's nothing big. It's just something to show them, hey, I'm still here with you. Apart from the coaching, we're still going to do things. It's on the 16th of April. It's on the quarry that's behind Riverside Plaza there. It's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's all about love and get together, just bringing the community together, because it's Glorious Saturday, and come on.
That's amazing. Now, just going back to your spoken word history, have you entered the competitions and that kind of thing? And do you know what it's like, you know, sharing your story in that platform?
Yes, I won Best Village Poetry Sandfest for 2-3 years.
Nice.
I entered Poetry Slam about 2 times, and I won Miss Intelligent Trinidad and Tobago a couple years ago. So it has been Sandfest and Best Village. I was in the final, so Best Village before the COVID as well.
Now, anybody who's looking on and they may have anxiety or depression right now, can you just encourage them to get started, or how can they get started? Is it just doing a live? Is it standing in front of your mirror and reading poetry? How can they get started?
It's all about writing. You write how you feel, when you feel, without feeling a type of way, sharing your feelings, sharing your emotions. And I tell people, your thing may not be poetry, it may be dance, but find something that cures you or pushes you to be at a better space. But for me, I tell people, pen to paper is the place where you have no opposition, which is why I share it a lot. Because we look for places to vent.
Yes.
Right? So yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, I mean, that was spoken word artist Jameela, who was just sharing, you know, her journey and just sharing what some of us can do if we are ever, you know, in a situation where we feel as if we don't need the opposition. We just need to share our story. We just need to get it out on paper. We are going to take a break, but I would like Jameela to just take us out, please. And of course, we'll be right back here on the Now Morning Show. Jameela, all you.
Hi, my name is Jameela Coward. You could contact me at 315-7172. You could look for our Facebook and Instagram page, which is Fighting Depression Through Poetry.
Nice. Any final words you want to recite a poem for us?
Oh.
I know I'm putting you on the spot, but still.
Let me see. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Words by the legend Bob Marley. But have we listened to these lyrics carefully? Then why are we so enslaved mentally? The chains that shackled us against our will has now become bling and style, which gets us killed. Thank you.
Wow, amazing, amazing, Jameela. Thank you so much, guys. You're on the Now Morning Show. We have so much more for you. Stay with us.